couple of months into the job now. Can you tell us how you've found those first couple of months?
Yeah, listen, there's a lot of work to do. It's been really busy. I think it's been great to get a head start. Coming in actually ahead of Christmas in the end was great to just allow me to get under the skin of everything that goes on in the organisation, on and off the field, and get to grips with everything that goes on here at the club. I think the remit of the role of chief exec is pretty broad, and I've been really impressed, but also amazed by the sheer volume of work that goes on here across a number of different aspects of the game, both domestically and professionally as well. So it's taken me quite a while to get my head around that, and yeah, there's some days your head's still spinning a little bit, but I've settled into it well, and I've got a good grasp on things, and I'm excited about what the future holds with it. So, as I say, a lot of work to do, but it's something I'm delighted to be here and to be given the opportunity to represent the club and lead it, and something I take a degree of responsibility in as well. So I'm looking forward to working with everyone to build on the great work that's done already to continue to make this place a success.
You enjoyed a successful spell with Edinburgh and drove them on and off the pitch. What was it that attracted you to come to Ulster Rugby at this time?
Well, I think in some respects it was quite a difficult decision to make, because you invest a lot of time and interest and emotion into what you do and what I was doing with Edinburgh. I'd done that for 4 years thereabouts. That was quite difficult to walk away from, because you see the direction of travel of where they're going under Richard Cockerell. So that in some respects was quite difficult. But then actually looking at the opportunity across here in Ulster, the history and the heritage of the club, the groundswell of support for the team. The level of support for rugby and the engagement in the sport right across the province. The fantastic stadium here at Kingspan as a platform, and the ability to pick something up that's perhaps fallen away a little bit over the course of the past few years, and really try and drive that forward, and in the knowledge that when it's successful you can see what the outcome's going to be, and that was enormously exciting for me, and I'm genuinely very proud to, as I say, be given the opportunity to take hold of that. And it's not something that I take particularly lightly. So, at the same time, where it was a difficult decision to walk away from Edinburgh and to step out of Scottish rugby, it was also a pretty easy decision as well, because I knew what I was coming to, and I'm just really pleased to be here and get into things.
You talked about the wide remit, and I know you've been out in the club and skill matches and involved in the Women in Action rugby plan as well. What challenges do you see in the domestic and amateur game, and how do you go about tackling those?
There's a lot of the similar challenges that domestic clubs in Scotland face. There's challenges around playing numbers, around volunteers, around people's time, and what people wanting to compete and take part in team sports in general, not just in rugby. So we need to work to give people plenty of opportunities to take part in the sport, and that's what we'll work to do. So I'm not here to wave a magic wand on that, but I want people to understand that I see that as an important part of the role. And for me to be out there, being visible as chief exec, and not just lording it in the stadium here in front of the professional team, but actually getting out and understanding on the ground about the challenges that people are facing, and being accessible for people to talk to about that. That's an important part of the role. As I say, I've been astounded by the level of work that, from an IRFU perspective, but also as Ulster, that we put into developing the game at domestic level, and that's something we can absolutely continue to invest more in, both in terms of our finances and our emotional resource, I suppose, to continue to make that a success. As I say, not without its challenges, but something I really care about, and it was an important part of my decision-making process in coming across here, where the responsibility for growing the domestic game was part of the remit across here. That was something I wanted to do, and getting out and spending time away from the stadium here and getting under the skin of the clubs and the women's game and the school game. That's really important, and I've been really pleased to get out there and speak to a number of people about what they see as the challenges and what they see as the way forward, and that allows me to get a good understanding and plot out a good route forward.
In terms of the professional game, it's obviously, I suppose, a feel-good factor at the minute with the European Cup quarter-final secured. Sam Carter announced last week as joining, and then Marcel Coetzee obviously re-signed as of this morning as well. So
yeah, I mean, largely we're in a good place with that. I think we're going forward, and still some work to do and some things to announce over the course of the past few while, but we can be confident going into next year that we've got a stronger squad than we have this year, and you've got to keep yourself moving forward in professional rugby. So it's important that we invest in that, and great with Sam, who's an experienced Australian international, choosing to come to Ulster next year, but also in Marcel, who I think people can see now that he's fit, just what he brings to the club. Both in terms of his performance in the field, but the ability to raise the standards of everyone around him and to help bring on the young Irish talent that we're very committed to bringing through. So from every respect, on Marcel particularly in there, it's important for us to make a bold statement in that, and operating in a really competitive marketplace for a player of Marcel's quality and experience. For us to get to a point where he sees that Ulster's the place that him and his family want to settle, and Ulster is the club that he wants to play his rugby at, because he understands where we're going, and he buys into the rugby programme that Dan McFarlane's put in place. That's something we can be really proud of, and I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do for us over the course of the next 3 years.
I know one of your major focuses is going to be on kind of trying to reconnect with some of the supporters who maybe fell away over the past couple of years, and trying to create more days like the Racing game and the Munster game.
Yeah, I mean the Racing one was it was fantastic on a number of levels. I think I've been across at the Kingspan and Ravenhill in various guises across the years. I think safe to say that I hadn't seen the stadium brought to life like it was on that night, and I said it on the night as well. It kind of genuinely brought a bit of a lump to the throat, because you see how much this actually means to people here, and when we put something out there that people want to get behind and that people feel proud of, that it really fires, and that was just fantastic to see on that night, and the more occasions we can have like that, the better, and we want to be putting on performances of that level on a week in, week out basis, and when we do that, we know that people are going to get behind us, and that they've got something that they want to be engaged in, and they've got something ultimately that they can be genuinely proud of, and that's important to us as well, and if we get those things right, then it's just yeah, it's going to be fantastic to see what this place can be when we get it right.
I know you don't want to make bold promises, but in terms of the next few years, how do you see it developing, and what do you want to see in terms of improvements over the next couple of years? I think you
have to get better every day. I think, Dan talks about it a lot from a performance point of view, but you look at that as a club and as a province, and as a sort of governing body for the province. I suppose the things that we do every day get us better and better, and we need to keep improving, and when we do that, that we know we'll be successful. So yeah, I'm not here to make these bold proclamations, and I'm not here to pretend anything else other than it's going to be a bit of hard graft, and people need to have some level of patience with us on that. But by the same margin, as I say, we've got a strengthening squad, and I think people can see that you've got a group of young Irish players who are coming through the ranks and becoming more and more experienced, that are going to stand this club in good stead over the course of the longer term as well, and that's something that we need to be protective of. It's part of what we do. We want more players from the Ulster province representing Ulster, and for them generally to see a pathway through schools and into the senior team, but they also need to be of the right quality as well. And we've got the right pathways, we've got the right systems and the right coaches in place to be able to do that. And you're now starting to see the benefit of that with guys like a Michael Lowry or Robert Balogun or an Eric O'Sullivan coming through the system and breaking into the senior ranks. And that's exciting. So it's making us competitive now, but it's making us competitive in the future as well, and building this club on a sustainable basis. Because it's an expensive business as well, and we need to do that in the right way to have long-term success. So yes, people need to watch that develop in increments, but they should be able to recognise in what Dan's doing with the performance group and what we're doing with this club overall, that we're doing the things and putting in place the things that get us better on a day-by-day basis, and that people can really get behind that because they see the direction of travel and they feel that that's something they want to be part of. And they can be sure that me sitting at the front of that, I'll be driving that hard.